the ability to live from the income of your personal resources. Meaning, at that point, you wouldn't have to work, that is, to make a living, or work to earn money, because now you have enough income from your personal resources. You would then simply work for accomplishment, you would work for pleasure, you would work for joy, you would work for whatever. But from that point on, once you became financially independent, you wouldn't have to work anymore in terms of supporting yourself, in terms of like making a living. That you can become someday financially independent and live from the income of your personal resources. Now, here's the next question. How do you wish to live? There's a difference between modestly and extravagantly. If you wish to live extravagantly from the income of your personal resources, you'd have to have a lot more personal resource. But if you wanted to live modestly, and if that life would suit you, modest in terms of what it would require to, support your daily living. If that was fairly modest, not the ambition of your goals, but modest in terms of the money you would require to live comfortably, it doesn't take that much personal resources. I mean, it doesn't take $100 million, it doesn't take $50 million, it doesn't take, you could live fairly well on $120,000 a year even after paying taxes. But it depends on how you wish to live. It depends on your own personal lifestyle. Now, if you need a mansion in every major city in the world, it's going to take more personal resources, right? But to be free of anybody to have financial claim on you, and to be free to live in a fairly easy manner, all you need is a certain amount of personal resources to be able to live from the income of those resources. Here's what we call that, whatever those dimensions are, financial independence. Now, here's one more exciting thing beyond that to be exciting, and that is debt-free. To where no one has a claim on your personal resources. Economics is major. Putting together your economic plan. My mentor asked me for my financial plan when I was 25. Of course I didn't have one. Just like a list of goals I didn't have. But a financial plan. Now here's what's important. My mentor said it's not the amount that counts, it's the plan that counts. Because I offered him the excuse. I said, if I had more money, I'd have a better plan. He said, no, if you had a better plan, you'd have more money. I'd been working 6 years. And once in a while now, the creditors were calling. See, after 6 years, he suggested to me after 6 years of economic activity, I should be at least 1/3 of the way to building a financial wall around my family nothing could get through. And how far away was I from being 1/3 of the way? Like 1,000,000 miles. And the key is to not just live in the right country, but to have the right plan. So it's the plan that counts. Now here's what you do. You start with some plan and then refine it as you go. Or you refine it as your needs require, or you refine it as your dreams require. It just depends on what you want, how you want your life to unfold. But now, financial independence, being able to live from the income of your personal resources, that's a goal everybody should set. Now, if you're a little late coming to this plan, you might have to, do a little more stretching than the average person would. Now, the reason why the money all disappears is not because it doesn't exist, it's because the money isn't put in the right plan. So now let's talk about a few other things. One is, some people have to wrestle with, and I had a few questions on, is it okay to strive to be rich? Is it okay to want to be wealthy? Is it okay to go for it? I had to come to grips with that. Some people say, well, it'd be better to renounce all worldly goods and just live a very poverty, spiritual life. And that's one concept. I've got another concept. Try this on for size. If you could do better, should you? That's an interesting concept to consider. Why would you leave the biggest share of your life unexplored in terms of personal development and what that might have achieved, either in the marketplace or at home as a father? Someone says, I'm not going for being rich. I don't think that's really the healthy thing to do. So everybody has to wrestle with that. And I understand that. But I think one conclusion we could come to, with a good, simple, practical plan, there's no reason why you can't accumulate the resources to be financially independent. So now let's talk about it. Here's how Schoaf introduced me to the concept. One is to develop a current financial statement. Now this is primarily going to be a current financial statement of your finances, your money. Now money is not the only value, but make this note, it is one value. It's not the only one, but it is one. Money is not the only measure of success, but it is one measure. It's not the only one, but it is one. That your current income is a measure of your personal value to the marketplace. If your current value to the marketplace is $5 an hour, you get the $5. So, not that a person is only worth $5, but their value to the marketplace is only worth $5. But it's possible to very quickly change those numbers by changing your value. But the numbers do illustrate the value. We cannot leave that concept out. So somebody says, you mean where I am financially is an illustration of who I am? And the answer is yes. Now, it's not the only measure. I'm not saying it's the only one, but I'm saying it is one. There's a lot of other ways to measure a person's value as a father, a person's value as a mother, a person's value as a friend, as a colleague. But we can't leave the money out. Now, here's why money is an easy measure. It's easy to count. Say, how are you doing? Well, there's a lot of, things we could throw out there about how you're doing. And when we say financially, that's easy. Let's count. So my mentor said, let's come up with a financial statement. I said back then, what is a financial statement? I didn't know. So here's what he said. You take a piece of paper, draw a line down the center. Over here, you list all of your assets. Everything you can think of that you have that's got value. And then we add this up, the total. Whatever you've got. Your bicycle, whatever you got. Put it on here, put some value on it. That's the total of your assets. Now over here's your liabilities. Here's what you owe. And you make this list. So I started putting this together. I said, well, if I do this, it's not going to look that good. He says, it doesn't matter how it looks. It matters whether or not you do it. He said, let's take a picture of where you are currently. As bad as it may be, or as good as it may be, let's take a picture after 6 years. And these are called what? The facts. So I thought, well, okay. He said, you don't have to publish this in the paper. This is just for you. So I started putting my liabilities, my parents that I'd borrowed money from, budget finance, the whole bit. Now assets. Now I am embarrassed. I even put my shoes on here. Salvation Army give you what? $4 for your shoes. Can you imagine the trauma I went through now putting together my first financial statement after 6 years? And he said, if you would have taken this picture much earlier, you probably would have done something about it. So this is what you must affirm now. This is the truth. This is where you are. This is not everything in your life, but this is where you are financially. So then he said, we subtract assets, liabilities from assets, and we come up with current net worth. Now, it's not your total net worth now, I keep emphasizing. It's your net worth financially. And you can imagine my picture did not look very good. Now, here's what he said. Let's start changing this picture. And the change you want in the picture is what? For the asset values to start going up and these numbers to start coming down. And that starts increasing your net worth. Guess how quickly you can do this? Almost immediately. And he said, you cannot believe the excitement of almost daily changing your net worth. Daily changing your net worth. Number one, your self-esteem starts to go like this. It's unbelievable. You've got to do this now. Put together your own current net worth, whatever the picture is. Don't need to show it to anybody. It's just for you and your information. Now let's come to what I teach kids. What should a child do with $1? Where do you suppose someone's financial journey begins? A child with $1. That's where it starts. Now, what road is this child with $1 going to go down? It all depends. It depends on what they've been taught. It depends on what they've been taught, the disciplines of developing a plan for the future. It all depends which road this child chooses. And one of the great illustrations of choosing the wrong road is doing the wrong things with the early resources. Well, what if this child spends the whole $1? Let me give you a clue. That is the wrong road. You say, well, it's only a child and it's only $1. No. And if a child has $1, however he earned it, however he got it, You've got to say to the child, now don't spend the whole dollar. They'll say, why not? It's my dollar. I said, I know it's your dollar. I earned it. I know you earned it, but you can't spend the whole dollar. They'll say, why not? So you take them to the other side of town and show them where people live that spend the whole dollar. And you just drive them around and say, would you like to live here? Kid says, no. Say, would you like to live like these people live? Kid says, no. Then you can't spend the whole dollar. I'm telling you, they will get the message. It only takes one visit. Now, if you already live there, just show them around. Good time for confession. Don't do what I did, wind up on this side of town. Let me show you a plan, my son, how to get to the other side of town. See, there's nothing better than the truth. You don't need to fool with the truth. It is so dynamic in uncovering the errors of our ways and helping us to set up new disciplines to change it all, starting today, starting overnight, starting anytime. Now, you could wait to start a plan for a couple of years, but why not do it now? So what should a child do with the dollars? Here's what I teach. Never spend more than 70 cents. Somebody says, why? Well, to make it easy, just take my word for it. Don't spend more than 70 cents. You got to pick some number. When I met Shof on every dollar, I was spending about 110%. And here's what I learned. If your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. I found that back then it was easy to make $4,000 a month and go broke. Somebody says, how could you make $4,000 a month and go broke? It's easy. Spend $5,000. And if you spend $5,000, it's what? Inevitable. That's a good word, inevitable. Sometimes it's inevitable. Don't spend more than 70 cents out of each dollar. They say, okay, I got that now. What do I do with the other 30 cents? I'm glad you asked. Here's what you do. 10 cents for charity, helping people who can't help themselves, supporting worthy causes. The time to teach kids generosity is early. So 10 cents for charity. Now, here's another 10 cents called active capital, meaning put your money to work. Capitalism. And kids can learn to buy and sell. My old illustration way back on the old tapes was buy a bottle of soap for $2 and sell it for $3. Who can do that? Any kid can do that. Go next door, knock on the door. Ms. Jones, my mama uses this soap. I think you'll find it real interesting. It's only $3 a bottle. She says, well, Johnny, I've already got plenty of soap. He says, you better let me come in and check. Kids don't need a class on sale. They're born to sell. Now, when a child collects $3 and sells this bottle of soap, what should they do? You got to teach them not to spend the whole $3. See, some adults don't know that. Kid says, well, yeah, if you spent the whole $3, you'd be out of business. You got to save back the $2. You've only got $1 now. The $2 have got to go get you another bottle of soap. So it's easy to teach these little principles. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune. Anything to generate a profit, render a service, whatever it is, something simple and easy. Active capital means you are involved. Now, here's the last 10 cents called passive capital, meaning let someone else use your money. Let a financial institution use your money. Some projects require more money than one person can put up. So we have what we call collective pools of money, where you put up some, I put up some, someone else put up some, and we loan it out. And here's what they pay us for using our money. They pay us interest and dividends and increase in stock value. This is the potential here. But now, if you follow this starting at age 15 and allocate the dollar this way, rather than having no plan at all, it's easy to become financially independent by the time you're 35, at the latest 40.